Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to Blade Bias, the Blade Bias podcast, but not in the way that you expect. I have a beautiful man sitting next to me. Look at him. Look at that. Look at that face. Oh my gosh. That's not Ty. As you all know, Ty is no longer doing Balisong related stuff, and I
He
want
is
to do the
not.
podcast. So I told this to Brandon, and Brandon expressed interest in being the new co-host.
That is
And
me.
now
I
here
am
we are.
Brandon. We are here.
You're Brandon.
Yes, so we've actually
I'm-
talked
you know-
about this for a while, doing this kind of thing.
We did, yes. It was a pretty cool discussion where we discussed a lot of discussings.
We discussed the discuss, and the words were said in the things in the place, and those words got us to a new place and a new time. And
Blade
speaking
Bias
of
Podcast.
time, we are wasting the beginning of this. So welcome to the Blade Bias podcast.
I'm
Ethan and I.
He's Brandon.
That's me. What do we
we're
do?
We're gonna be biased about blades.
Yes. What do we do? Ethan, what do you do?
I don't do anything.
What
I put
do you
a camera
stand
on my
for?
head. I put a camera on my head and I pointed at me flipping poorly, and that is it. I have a main channel. I don't upload on the main channel. That's how it goes. That's how it goes.
okay.
What do you
We're
do,
here.
Brandon?
What do? I am now
Yeah.
the co-host of the Blade Bias podcast, and of course, the producer slash editor slash writer slash scripter slash camera operator slash social media manager. I think I said editor for the Will Hirsch YouTube channel, where we talk about all of these boys, a lot of things.
My God.
And I love doing that, but I'm looking to branch things out a bit, and the Blade Bias podcast was a perfect opportunity. So here we are.
They call me the perfect opportunity, the way I podcast.
Anyway, moving on. So with Blade Bias, Ethan, how would you describe the vibe of a Blade Bias video? What's your goal when you
Unscripted.
create? Okay.
There's no goal. I talk. I
Okay.
talk. I ramble. I do the things without the paper in my hand to tell me to say the things. You know?
Okay, that's fair.
I
That's
hit my
fair.
microphone.
There we go. No,
Um,
podcast over. You hit the
And
microphone,
it's a
over.
podcast. It's yep. We got to restart. Pack it up, everyone. And you know, we just kind of talk. You just get opinions out there. And so, what better way to talk and get opinions out there, and you know, like just give a better window into who we are as creators and people
Yes.
than not sitting, forcefully sticking two people in the same room and forcing them to converse with each other for over an hour, no matter how little or a lot they may like each other.
Sounds like a first date. So on a first
That's
date,
a way to put it.
on a first date, I love to lay out the things that we're going to be talking about that night. So because as Ethan said, Blade Bias is a pretty unscripted thing. We want to stay in the spirit of that, but give it just a little more structure. So at the beginning of each episode, we're going to give you a little tease of some of the topics we're going to be covering, such as
Tease us, Brent. I shouldn't have said that.
Oh, I'll tease you all night, baby. Topic number one, our favorite, maybe not even number one, it'll just come up eventually. Our favorite Balisong related memories, because the reason that Ethan and I have even ended up in this position is because we have quite a few fascinating adventures to share. And then our favorite Balisong makers. Talk about some of that. Maybe if you're new to the Balisong world, maybe you can learn a little bit about all the different products that exist in this hobby.
Get
And then-
educated.
The most important thing is a very heated debate that will randomly pop up that we will get quite intense about. But we don't even know when that's going to happen, because that's what we agreed to before we started recording.
Yes.
But stay
We
tuned, because
must-
it's going to have some
It's
staying
gonna
power.
be good. There's
Yes.
steaks.
Yes.
Filet mignon, New York strip, sirloin, many steaks.
Yep, keep going. No, you can't stop at 3.
I don't know
Topic
any
number
more cuts of
4,
meat.
steak.
What's your favorite
And
steak?
no, and literally, we will be discussing bread.
That is true.
It is true. So,
Yeah?
the Blade Bias podcast, that's what it's going to be. Not going to have too much structure, but we're going to be going in, trying to have a good time, trying to make some entertaining content for you, the lovely
It
viewer.
might not always even be about ballad songs, but it
may
probably will
not.
be.
It may not, because turns out we do not live and breathe all things ballad songs, and have lives,
You don't?
and have loved ones, and have other things that we do. And making these kinds of things can actually be kind of tough and lead to some interesting stories to share.
And that's why it's a podcast.
There we go.
So, to sum it all up, it's like before, but better.
There we go.
There we go. That's
Better,
your
I
Blade
hardly
Bias
know her.
guarantee. Stop. Stop. We can't. It has been, how long is it's been 7 minutes and you already made a hardly know her joke?
What do you expect from me?
We really need to start talking about this, Brandon.
Okay,
I think
let's
it
actually.
might be time to admit you have a problem.
I think it would be beneficial to start this first episode of this hopefully long-running podcast that we're about to do for potentially a long time together, and have a really deep and intense discussion about a ballad song that doesn't have a blade.
That's so true. This is the future. This is the future. I literally can't hear that.
You can't hear it because of noise suppression, but the lovely viewers can hear whatever the heck this is about.
I'm sure they really don't want you to stop at any point and really just want you to keep going throughout this whole thing. And it isn't piercing or annoying or anything like that in any way.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so Ethan, I think honestly, let's give the lovely viewers a little backstory of how we even came to this point. What was the beginning of our knowledge of each other?
Right. So I was born 20 years ago.
Okay, that's where we differ. I was never born.
Oh. Okay, I see. No, I mean, like where do you want to start specifically?
Well, so I learned of you through Will on our community page sharing it was one of your reviews.
Will. Yeah.
I don't honestly remember what review it was. Was it I think it was just like your intro to ballad song stuff, right?
Should you buy a ballad song?
Yeah, should you buy a ballad song?
It was my first video, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I became aware of you because I thought that you were married to Will when I first started watching you guys. Because
you
that's
are not alone.
That's a common thing that happens.
Yes, anybody. So, yeah, for people that aren't aware of that relationship, I've been making videos with Will, technically for over 10 years. But ballad song videos since 2019. But before that, we went to high school together. We technically were going to the same school in the 5th grade. But we've just been longtime best friends. And then we started making videos about the ballad songs because Will was super into them and was an editor. I was a camera guy. And so that came together. But amidst that, co-hosting things turns out because Will is a gay man.
No way, really?
Or mostly gay.
That.
He's not even 100% gay. It's probably more realistic to maybe even say pansexual, but it's just easier to say gay. So,
okay.
People assume I'm gay too, because I'm roughly eccentric and roughly care about what I wear. And so, yeah, I am not gay, and I have never had a boyfriend. And I have no plans to have a boyfriend. And I have a lovely girlfriend who I'm very happy with. But yeah, but I don't blame you for that being the first thing that you thought. Because we literally lean into it.
It was dispelled pretty quickly. I think the exact words that made me realize were, I'm married to a dude, but not this dude. And then I was like, they're just friends. That's sad.
Yeah. Yeah, for some people, it's crushed their whole headcanon.
I was a little
of
sad.
Our YouTube channel.
You crushed my. I think I was watching you guys for maybe a week at that point. I don't think my Squiddy Bee had even arrived yet. But my week-long ballad song brain was crushed, and it was.
At least it was only a week, because I've seen comments of people I thought that you two were married for the last 3 years. and every video I have watched,
no.
I've assumed you're married. And the fact that you are not shatters my entire universe.
I mean, it speaks to
So,
how good your dynamic is.
yeah. We have a vibe.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we
so
do.
Will shared one of your videos, and then that's when I became aware. And then the earliest memory I remember from that was a infamous stream, which I won't go into the details of unless you grant me permission.
Go
But
ahead.
certain things
It's on the
were being
internet.
shared. We might as well just roll the clip. The clip exists somewhere. I think I even have the clip. But yeah, Ethan, they were talking about different names for, I don't know, your significant other, perhaps. And there were things like daddy and senpai and things like that. And
This is
even
not normally what we talk about on the stream. I swear.
Yeah, Ethan
I swear.
you were really trying to like, we have to move on. And after you had successfully moved on, I chimed in to the chat for the first time because I'd been in for like 10 minutes, and I just said, I think it was exactly daddy, senpai, biological stepmother.
Oh, the words that I haven't heard in such a long time. You've just awakened. You honestly awake. I forgot about that. I have to be completely honest.
But yeah,
Because
you
now-
went, you literally put your hands, your face in your hands, and you're just, Brandon heard all of that.
I was crying inside, partially from laughter and partially from absolute sadness that this guy that like worked heavily and was a part of a YouTube channel that I watched extensively at this point.
Yeah.
The only experience he's ever had with coming into my live streams is the chat being like that. So that was
it was my kind of vibe, to be fair. But yeah, so that led us down the journey of, then I think we started talking at that point. And then this was all in 2022. And then at Blade Show 2022 is where things, I think, really started to
Blade shows
off.
were
I think before
off.
that you had some footage in our Glider Arctic review. So that relationship had
and
started.
Squid Trainer, I think. You mentioned me in the Squid
I think
Trainer
I
video,
mentioned you
sure.
in the Squid Trainer video, yeah.
Yeah. And like we had interacted, I guess, kind of a little.
Yeah.
But like it didn't really fully start until Blade Show.
Yeah.
Because Ty and I go there expecting, like, you guys were like, oh, we obviously have to meet at some point. And we were like, yeah, of course. And Ty and I thought it was going to be like, hey, hi, how are you? Handshakes. Great to meet you. And then we both fuck off.
Yeah.
And that is not what happened. So
no,
it
not
just
at all.
kickstarted like, oh my gosh, these guys like,
no,
they actually want to talk to us. This is strange. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
so-
pretty
so
cool
I-
though. We'll go with it.
Yeah, well, so this goes hand in hand with one of the topics we brought up, which was our favorite ballast song related memories. And I think for both of us, it's just Blade Show in general. But I remember you were a little starstruck and awestruck by like just the things that we were doing. Because here's the thing about Blade Show, especially in the position that you are in an increasing amount, especially as Blade Bias grows. And then Will and I, with I think we're over 140,000 subscribers at this stage. There's a lot of people there that are really fun to meet.
Yeah.
But a lot of those people are not socially adept. And
To
you
say
love
the
them.
least.
You love talking to them, but it is just hard for them to take the hint that I don't want to sit here and talk for 45 minutes and just nod my head along and give 1,000. Wow, that's crazy. Huh. Wow.
Wow, that's crazy.
Dude, that's cool. Cool. And you give 1,000 of those and they still don't get it. If
Wow,
you're at
that's
Blade
crazy,
Show,
Brandon.
please come up and say hi. Like, please. But
Yes.
the reason I bring this up is you and Ty, who were both there, immediately I was like, these guys are not going to wear us down socially.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's
You're
we
regretting
ended up
that
hanging
now.
out.
I know that. I know
No,
that. You're
no,
like, oh, this
literally
dude.
don't. No.
Oh man, I didn't expect this when I first started talking to him. Bro,
Ethan, I wouldn't have signed up to do a fucking podcast with you.
Can you just go with a bit?
No.
Fine. Okay. Fine. Um,
Anyway, so
you
yeah,
said the
I
word.
hate you and you're awful and I need you to stop talking.
That's so true. That's literally me to myself every day in the mirror. I'm just kidding. You said starstruck, which is
Yeah.
interesting.
Is that a correct
I
analysis?
mean,
Maybe I'm incorrect.
I guess like if you look at the situation from a third perspective, like a third person view, yeah, it would
Hmm.
probably describe it pretty well. But I think more accurate is just surprised that you guys like we Ty and I were very much so expecting to just be like the 15-minute conversation that you have with like a fan,
Yeah.
if even that, you know? Because at this point, I got at Blade Show, I had maybe, I think I was less than 1,000 subscribers on my main channel. Blade Bias had just started like 2 weeks prior.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so we were just expecting, oh yeah, we'll like meet them. This is the guy that like shared my first video. Like we're aware of each other. We'll meet. It'll be great. And then we'll form like maybe like a more businessy kind of relationship, you
Okay.
know?
Okay.
Like a,
Yeah. I'd say
hey,
that was a
you're
more
cool.
reasonable expectation
Mm-hmm.
from the get go,
That's how I would
I would
describe it. It was
say.
very reasonable. And then you guys just like, you just kept inviting us to stuff and we just kept being surprised. And we were like, this is
No,
kind of
you guys are great to
crazy.
hang out with. It's
I
great.
appreciate that.
And we made
It's
some
just,
great memories too.
it was an amazing time. It was so cool. But Ty and I, just the whole weekend, were just like, wait, they just like,
The
they, they keep, they keep talking to us. This is not what we were expecting. This is crazy.
the moment that I remember in terms of being starstruck or maybe awestruck was going you and Ty, or I guess specifically you, going into Will's office for the first time.
That was cool. Okay,
Yeah.
yes, I
Yeah.
will say
Yeah.
that. I was genuinely like, I'm not someone who gets starstruck
Hmm.
or like there are two times in my life that I can remember being genuinely starstruck. And the first is when Will shared my video,
Yeah.
and the second is being in the office of the place that you made the videos that
Yeah.
I've been watching for a year at this point.
Yeah.
Cuz it's
Because
just like,
every video except the first like two videos has been made in that
yeah.
office since
And
2019.
even the first two that weren't, it's like a similar vibe. Like if you told someone that like Will's first video wasn't in that office, I don't know if they'd believe you. Like it's a very
Yeah.
similar. It's like, okay, maybe the tables just turn this way or whatever. But yeah, like being, I'd sort of liken it to like maybe you going to the place where they filmed Lord of the Rings. It was just like,
Which I will literally be doing in
yeah,
the not so distant future, which is a
yeah,
literal dream trip of mine. So yeah, I get
it's
it.
so
No, I
cool.
get it. Well, because I get that way too. Think people, even you've had this opinion, is they see like the amount of subscribers that Will and I have, and like, oh, we got to be raking in the dough, and we're getting like recognized in public all the time. And no, I've been recognized one single time by myself.
Yeah,
But so like whenever I've met people because I've worked in the film industry for the past few years. YouTube is not the stuff that I do full time. It's still technically a
right.
part-time job. But I've met people that I'm just and it'll be like a low-level actor, but I just know them from a particular role in a specific show.
Right.
So I get it. But yeah, walking into that office, that was the first time that I remember you like you're looking
That
around and
was
you're
just is
just,
cool.
oh my god.
It's also just the sense of like it's a real place.
Yeah.
Cuz like this is the place that you like. Again, I've been watching videos constantly. I think at this point I had watched almost every single one of your videos, if not once but twice. This is the place that they were made, and that's just cool.
Yeah.
It's not the subscriber count attached to it. It's not like the any of that. It was just this content that I resonated with so much to the point where I created my own little spin-off of it. This is where it got made. That's really cool.
Do you think people are going to feel that way about like your apartment floor? for Blade Bias.
Oh, that would be weird. I don't know. I don't think anyone, no one has been in that room. I think I could count the
Okay.
number of people who have been in that room on one hand,
Okay. Yeah.
maybe two. But
No,
that
yeah,
that's a weird thing to put into perspective.
Yeah. I guess I'll probably never see it because those that don't know, Ethan and I live very far away from each other, so we only get to see each other seldomly. Usually,
Unless
I
it's
think
in
just for
VR.
Blade Show or in VR,
Yeah.
or during these lovely podcasts.
True. So true.
Yeah. So from that Blade Show, what's the thing that stands out to you the most? And for those that don't know, we're talking about Blade Show Atlanta of 2022.
Blade Show Atlanta 2022.
Blade Show Atlanta is the biggest Blade Show Atlanta is the biggest knife convention in the world. And there's a ton of Balisongs featured there.
Whoa. I think the moment that stands out, I don't know if you meant like Balisong specific memories.
No, it could just be any moment. Yeah.
Waffle House.
I was gonna say Waffle House.
Waffle House. I just like when I think of 2022 Blade Show, my immediate thought, like the thumbnail of my archives of thoughts from Blade Show 2022, is not the floor, is not the show itself. It is sitting in that corner booth at Waffle House.
Yeah. I believe it. It would take. We could spend hours talking about that night. But yeah, so for those that don't live in the South, Waffle House is just a southern treasure of the United States. And it's the kind of place you can go where you're not going to get great food. You're not going to get great service. It's not going to be a great price. It's not going to be very clean. But boy, when it's 12 a.m. and you are hungry and you need somewhere to just chill, Waffle House is the place to go. And that's what we did. I think it was like 11 or 12 at night, and we were like, we need food. We had been hanging out at Blade Show, I think, for most of the day and having a great time, but we needed to go somewhere to eat, and everywhere was closed except for Waffle House because it's open 24/7.
Or Iron Age.
Or Iron Age
as well, just because the food.
Yeah,
but I do have to say, on the Waffle House thing, I went to a Waffle House. I met up with my friends in Pennsylvania like 2 months ago at this point. Okay. And we went to a Waffle House, and it was genuinely good food. It was crazy.
Really? Okay.
It was like $10 for a full breakfast, and it was genuinely good quality food.
Okay. I will rescind that a little bit. The food can be good.
Which all of that to say, Atlanta skill issue.
Skill issue. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
But it's like you're not going there.
No,
for the
not at all.
Food. Like something Will and I used to do back in the day, before COVID. Me and him and our friends, we would go see a movie a lot, like very regularly. And most of the time is relatively late, but it's 11:30. We just got out of a 2.5-hour movie. We're pretty hungry. Where are we gonna go? Waffle House. True. Why Waffle House? Because there's one every like half mile. So there's always going to be someone there. Yeah, because it's 24/7. There's always going to be a location not that far, and there's always going to be someone there. So yeah, Balisongs lead you to waffles is my ultimate.
Yeah. The Blade Bias podcast, we've been going for however long, and I think 2 minutes of it was about Balisongs.
Yeah,
but you know
but
what?
no, we're laying the groundwork.
We're laying the groundwork.
Yeah.
I do have to ask, because you said movies, and I want to go into this side tangent for like a minute.
Okay.
You saw Oppenheimer.
I did see Oppenheimer.
I need to know what you thought of it in like a kind of condensed form.
I would say it was... So I saw it in the 70mm IMAX.
Jealous.
Which was genuinely incredible. Not only for the image, but for the sound. The sound was mind-blowing because Hans Zimmer's music always is amazing on excellent speakers. But my very short, concise thoughts are incredible cinematography. Very fascinating the way they wrote the story. And the way that interweaves throughout. Because it's not a linear, you start from the beginning and then you go to the end. It's very mixed and matched. But the way they did that, it was a little confusing, but like it's mastercraft, both
Oh, I was
editing
all in.
and writing. And the performances were just absolute top notch. So yeah, I would give
Because I know,
I'd give it a 9 out of 10 on the low
yeah,
end, but a
hell
9 out of
yeah.
10.
Being you're like the camera guy, the
Or
cinematography
yeah,
guy. So I had to know.
so I guess that's where that's relevant. So yeah, I do, you know, I of course host and write and edit for the Will Hirsch YouTube videos, but the main thing that I'm doing is doing the shooting. Um and that requires a ton of different, bits of lighting equipment, stabilizers, high-end cameras with fancy lenses and equipment and all that. Um and so that kind of stuff matters to me probably more than it
Hmm.
would for somebody else. And I'm constantly thinking about like, oh, how is this shot done? How are they lighting this shot? And it's
Right.
just Christopher Nolan in particular is an incredible director and writer. Um, and he always has awesome directors of photography that definitely match his vision because his films always have a specific look. Um, but I can only hope to, because I'm by no means like some crazy professional videographer. I didn't go to school for filmmaking. I have an associates of arts, but I don't have anything more than that. Everything that I know in terms of actually operating a camera and lighting and composition and just general cinematography is entirely self-taught. So I'm no master of it. I'm still learning
Could have
things
fooled me.
every day. um, and eventually in a later podcast I would love to give, because I get questions all the time about, hey, I want to start making balisong videos. What are your tips? What should I do? Where should I start? So in a
Right.
future podcast we can cover that, because I think you are also on that journey, because we've had a lot of
Yeah.
discussions about that.
Yeah.
Briefly, what did you think of Oppenheimer?
I thought it was great. I felt like I was watching a 3 hour long history documentary, and I was
Yeah,
all in.
yeah, it
I
was
was all in.
wonderful. Yeah, very powerful movie too. I left that
Yes.
movie just kind of staring into nothing for a bit.
Just like Killian Murphy.
Yeah, literally like Killian Murphy in
Just,
the movie does, like for half of the runtime.
yeah.
But yeah, but so yeah, ballad songs are great. Blade Show is great, and I guess what that ultimately led to was you were doing the Blade bias thing, and I gotta say, you are pumping out probably the most consistent quality ballad song thoughts, critique, and opinions out of anybody.
I appreciate that.
Like
I
like
would
in the world, out of
in the
anybody in the world.
world.
Like
Wow.
seriously, like your stuff is good, and you care about it, and you're not afraid to speak your mind.
I would
Um,
agree it's consistent. I would say if I'm patting myself on the back a little bit here, that Blade Bias is currently, even without the daily uploads from Ty's End, one of the most consistent Balisong channels out
yeah,
there.
yeah. And the reason that's relevant to our previous conversation is that's what I think I vibed with initially whenever we started talking about stuff, is I registered you care about this stuff quite a bit.
I care. And you
Yeah.
do too. And that registered with
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And you're
Um
just way better at it than I ever was. And still am.
everybody sucks when they start.
Well, yeah, of
That's what
course.
she
But
said.
like when you're just starting out, it's like the people that are doing the good thing, the great thing. It's like you're drawn to that. You want to pick their brain about it.
Yeah. But so
I think
that's what I
Ty's excellent at picking people's brains about that.
yes, he is. He is. You guys both have a vibe. I am bummed that Ty's ballast song days are mostly over. Um
Yeah.
but if anybody's curious, I will probably upload a few things to Blade Bias here and there, but I am by no means this is going to be the main thing that I do with Ethan. I don't have any plans to like I'm gonna fully replace Ty, and I'm
That's
gonna
a
be
good point.
uploading
Yeah.
3-4 videos, a week kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like,
he's not gonna be the new like every other day filling in
yeah,
the
yeah, because
no,
I do
it's
still
just a
have a YouTube
podcast
channel to run and
and a
products to
life.
sell, social
Yeah.
media to manage, yeah, a life to maintain in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Like stuff like the Vulp is obviously that's maybe going to sell itself a little bit,
Oh
but
my God,
a
it's our
lot of that
colors.
comes down to me. It is our wow, that
It's our
literally
colors.
is. That is literally our color.
There
This
we
was the
go.
Christmas edition Vulp. If my camera focus, there we go.
There
With
we
the
go.
wonderful amount of lube in the middle, all the
I was
crusties.
gonna say there's so much.
This hasn't been clean in a long time. But yes, well, I guess in terms of ballad songs, that might lead us into our next little topic here.
Did we get everything? Was that? It's fine. I was gonna say, did we answer the? What did we even set out to
Our
answer
favorite
at the beginning
memories.
of that?
We talked about some. It was Waffle House. We agreed Waffle House
Oh, okay.
was one of
that's
our
fair,
favorite memories because we can't dish out all of our favorite memories.
No.
Because there's almost too many of those to count. But yeah, Waffle House for me. Waffle House and Iron Age are my top.
Same.
Okay, I guess maybe let's rewind. From Blade Show of that year, what's your
See, that's
main
tough
memory?
because Blade Show is just adrenaline. And like for you
Yeah.
especially, someone who's
yeah,
like
'cause we're
actively
filming.
doing things the whole time.
Yeah.
I have a hard time remembering like specific parts of Blade Show, especially from like 2022. Because
I have
2023 has
a
kind of
moment.
overtaken it.
If you need to
You have
think
a
about it,
moment.
I have a moment.
Yeah, you go. I need to think.
A guy. So for those that don't know, Will and I have a variety of memes in our channel that have sprung up over the course of the Balisong stuff. And in our most popular main video, that's not a YouTube short, we unbox the spider knife, which is to this day probably the worst Balisong I've ever flipped. Had a spider design. The handles felt awful. It was a comb. It was terrible. And that spider knife has become a bit of a meme. A ton of things from that video have. And so I'm at Blade Show, and I'm standing there, waiting to film something in some way. And I'm like near a table. I'm looking at the table or something like that. And a guy comes up behind me. Like, so say this is the guy. My hand is the guy, right? He's like this far behind me, right? And he walks by and whispers in my ear like this close. And walks by me, like behind me, right? And as he's going across, he just goes, spider knife. And walks away.
And did you ever interact with him at all for the rest of the show?
He came back later, eventually.
Okay.
And I was like, that blew my fucking mind. But he just walked behind me and just says, spider. And that's it.
Oh.
And I just literal
And you were just
chills
like,
down
"Where?"
my spine because it was close. Like he was less than like 10 inches.
Were you working
From
out?
my
Like, were you
ear.
filming?
No.
What were you doing?
I was just standing there with my monopod, which
Oh,
has
okay.
my camera on it. And yeah, that was probably one of the things that stood out to me the most from Blade Show was that guy was completely content to do that. And it was amazing.
I don't think I have something like that. I think my favorite, just, it's not even a specific memory, but just the feeling of being like unleashed to try out literally anything this hobby has to offer.
Yeah.
Is a magical feeling because up to this point you're limited. My collection back then was maybe 6 strong. I had like the Vortex, the Squid Trainer, the Arctics, and that was like kind of it.
Yeah.
So just like finally being able to try these things out. I'm experiencing it right now with IEMs, but like I don't know what's out there. I don't know how to like properly contextualize everything, and going to a place like Blade Show, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Because you can just try. Oh, this is what a Kraken feels like.
Oh, it's like,
I mean,
in certain scenarios, you can't even pick because somebody will just come up to you. Hey, you want to try this? They just literally will just hand it. Like they'll hand you
and then it's the
an
best thing you've ever tried.
knife.
Yeah.
And just, hey, try this.
Yeah. Hey, try this. Hey,
like,
check this out.
Ugh.
Hey, I've got a collection that's
it.
worth about as much as a used car.
Yeah.
Go ham.
Because this is all I've ever spent my money on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. The vibe of that Well, especially because the balisong hobby is ultimately very small, like very small. I have never, in my almost 5 years of being in this hobby, have never just seen a random person flipping a balisong
That's a skill issue.
outside of like Blade Show.
That's a skill
Blade
issue.
Show, of course, they're everywhere. But outside of Blade Show or a balisong related event, I have never seen anybody with a balisong.
Oh,
Will saw somebody at the Renaissance Fair in Atlanta who was flipping a Volp.
Oh.
So that was pretty wild for him.
I'm sure that was a fun interaction.
Yeah, so they had a great time with that. But yeah, so the balisong hobby is pretty small. So getting to meet with because even the balisong people that go to Blade Show, I would guess that there's not more than, like, think of like the audience at Bally Comp. That's not more than 200 people, maybe. If that. If even that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe if you include the competitors, maybe it's like around 200 people.
There's a pretty good amount of competitors.
Yeah. But like that's the biggest balisong event in the world.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
I guess
or in terms of like a dedicated, or I said maybe the biggest competition in the world. The biggest balisong competition. And one of the only ones. So getting to actually be surrounded by people that, you know, have everything that range from, you know, a very popular thing, like say a Cracker-Racken, and then a like hyper exclusive thing, like maybe, I don't know, a Zippy Lucha of some kind.
Right.
Or a one of one product that literally nobody has and was released one time 15
like
years ago.
The octopus, what the hell is the thing's name? I forget it.
My butter knife. It's out of, oh boy, it's all the way over there.
Oh no, that's okay.
It's all the way over there. I made a butter knife balisong.
One of one.
One of one. There we
go.
One of one. That is one of the most popular things at Blade Show is people trying my balisong that I literally made out of actual butter knives. There's a link on if you just search butter knife balisong, you should find it. I think it's actually titled "How I Made the Worst Balisong," because I documented the whole process of how I actually made it.
It's a great video. I like that video a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. But so yeah, with Blade Show, actually getting to be with people is just really, really awesome. And I think that's what solidified you and I being as close as we are. I don't think we would have reached this point if we hadn't have actually gotten to hang out.
Oh no,
and do everything we did.
Because it's kind of what I was getting at earlier with, like, you guys were sort of initiating everything with help, which helped a lot in us being more like forward. I don't know how to describe
more
what
comfortable.
I'm trying to say, but like, yes, exactly, more comfortable. Because like if we had just like sort of like been like, hey, Will and Brandon, do you want to like maybe go get lunch? We would have been
that's
weird
what I was
the
about
whole
to
time.
say. Yeah, you probably wouldn't have asked us.
Because we wouldn't have known if you wanted to be there, if you were just being nice. So it's a very easy thing to be like, nope, they invited us. I'm just going to be my normal dumb self. And if they have a problem with that, they brought this upon themselves.
Worst case scenario, we have knives and we can kill each other.
That is a terrible case scenario.
Pro tip. Don't hurt people with knives. Or yourself.
Pro tip. Don't shoot Nerf guns at people with knives.
Oh, is that a memory to share?
It's a memory.
That is and a memory. That's not a favorite.
I only remember it because it's in my Blade Show video.
Okay, that Blade Show.
It's gonna be. I guess it's a leak here, but it's gonna be in the blooper reel where I think I'm interviewing Ty or Pyro or someone, and I just get shot in the leg, and I just turn around, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So to explain this scenario, at Blade Show, there's an area that people go to after the show that people just call
2023.
Yeah, that people call the Pit, which is just an area of the hotel that's connected to the convention center where people will go to flip. It's carpeted. It's great. People hang out. People are there till literally probably till the show starts again.
Probably.
Whenever it opens up the next day. But yeah, there were just some kids that I guess were probably staying in the hotel running around. And so the Pit, you got probably 50 people all with razor sharp knives at most given times. Yeah, it could be even more than that. And
Saturday night
how old were those kids? 13, 12
Teenagers.
Yeah, teenagers. Show up with Nerf guns and just start shooting everybody while they're flipping. And they think it's
Yeah, it was
the most
great.
hilarious thing in the world. And maybe that means I'm an adult. That the idea of shooting people with knives isn't the thing that I want to do with my day. But I even went up to him at one point. I was like, my boys, you are shooting people with razor sharp knives. These are not the kind of people you want to piss off. Because by the time I told them that, somebody was there and they the kids ran up to him and shot him from close range, and he grabbed the Nerf gun and threw it into the ground as hard as he possibly could. And I was talking to him when he did that. Less than 3 feet from this man who
I think that was
grabbed it
also
and threw it into the ground.
I think that was also in my video.
Okay.
There's a
I
part
haven't
where
seen the video, so I
mean, no one has. It's still living on my laptop back there because it's not finished. But there was a point. I don't think it's going to be in any of the videos that get released. But there was a point where I'm talking to. I think I was talking to Sam.
Okay.
And then we're talking, and you just hear, and we both look over, and then we look back. We just keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what that was. But yeah.
So if you're those random literal children watching this episode,
don't do that.
I hope you are not that type of child anymore.
Don't do that. It's not smart.
But so I guess speaking of all that kind of stuff at Blade Show, there's a lot of different balisong makers at Blade Show. So for those that maybe are new to this world, Ethan, what are some of your favorite balisong makers and balisongs made by that? What the hell is that? Oh, I kind of like that too. That maker too. Wow.
Oh my God, that maker that I literally shill endlessly.
I literally don't have my serif next to me at this moment.
Oh,
which is a big sad.
That is a big sad. But yeah, machine wise, I think if you get into this hobby and you don't know about machine wise, you're kind of living under a rock.
Ethan, can I ask you to do a cut here so I can go grab?
You can go get
my serif. Okay.
Oh.
I apologize. We're not going to make a cut because it's actually right next to me.
It's right next to you. Okay,
that's staying. You can't cut that.
That's staying. I'm not going to cut that.
I literally have it right next to me. Here's
no editing.
Here's my
no editing. How did you miss it?
Here we go. I have a bunch of bags of hardware and stuff, and it was slightly obscured by the bags because it was at the bottom of I have a big old IKEA shelf with all my balisongs there. But yeah.
You guys see how sheepishly he was like, Ethan, can I ask you to do a cut here?
Well, they're annoying because you got to find where it was, and you don't know the exact timestamp, and you got to remember.
Can you please cut the thing out? Please? No, I get it. I appreciate your sorrow. What am I saying?
I appreciate your sorrow.
The serif.
I appreciate that you recognize my suffering.
Okay, we're even. Great, cool.
Tell us about the Slift TV too.
Speaking of socially inept,
is the Slift T socially inept?
I am, and
that's the Machine Wise tagline. Dalen,
I always bring up the Slift T.
Dalen, CEO of Machine Wise. There's your tagline. Machine Wise, socially inept.
You might, dude. You never know with that, man.
You never know.
Never know.
Yeah, tell us about the Slift TV 2.
No, I don't even want to talk about the Slift TV 2, to be honest. I just want to talk about Machine Wise in general because, you're talking about if you're new to the hobby, what are some makers that you like? If you're not aware of what they're doing over there, I would put that at this point on the level of not being aware of someone like. I hesitate to say
God.
Squid because, what? That's definitely not where I was going. But you know what? Good effort.
Well, no, we're so in sync that we finish each other's
sandwiches.
That is literally what I was going to say. So,
I'm more disappointed that I just made a joke from a Disney movie called Frozen.
What?
It's that's from the song. They finish each other's sandwiches. It's from the song.
Frozen.
Yeah, Frozen.
That a
You hardly know
DreamWorks
them?
movie? No, I'm
Stop.
bullshitting you.
Stop. There's
This
gonna
is
be
what we do
angry
here.
comments, Brandon. They're gonna be mad.
Yeah, all the Frozen simps that watch the Blade
Yeah,
Bias podcast.
every single one of them.
If you're a Frozen simp, leave a comment.
Sound off. If you're a Frozen simp, sound off in the comments, and then everyone else like that comment.
There you go.
And we'll just see
Yeah,
how
that-
many. How
that'll
many Frozen
inexplicably
simps there are.
be the top comment.
You know what? I love that. If you have to dig 50 minutes in to find that, the context for that, that's perfect. That's exactly what we want.
There you go. It's all about retention, baby.
Yeah. But for the third time, we're going to try and talk about this. Machine Wise is making some great stuff at every price point. I would also say, honestly, because like I'm trying to avoid the obvious like Squid. I feel like everyone who's into the hobby knows who Squid is. Maybe you don't.
Yeah,
Maybe I should bring
maybe
up
not.
Squid.
Yeah.
Squid's great. I'm not a big fan of a lot of Squid stuff, to be honest, but they make good stuff. I can't deny that.
Yeah.
And then
It's affordable enough. It's accessible enough. I have
about
stuff in
you?
stock all the time.
I
I'm
only
kind of
answered.
in that same boat. I do love me some Machine Wise. The reason why, and full
They
disclosure,
have purple
I
though.
Will and I have a actual financial affiliation with Machine Wise. We have a discount code. But the reason we have a discount code, the only reason we even consider doing discount codes with people is because we know them really well and they make really good stuff and have genuinely really good business practices and they care. And something like this is a Prisma Pro, which for some people isn't the most affordable thing around like $180-ish. But machine wise, like you're always going to be getting like decent grip, decent balance, very good build quality, very good tuning, which can't be said, like you said, with Squid Industries, which I also have a financial relationship with, because we also have a discount code with them.
Just got the spider web going on.
Yeah, I know. Those are the only two we have. Well, then we also sell the Volt, and we have Balisong cases back there. Shill. We are shills. We are shills. We are shills.
We are shills. We are shills. We are shills.
But no, objectively though, like with Squid Industries, their tuning game isn't what it used to be. And so somebody that buys a product from them isn't necessarily guaranteed that they're going to get something that's just has like no issues. Whereas generally with Machine Wise, it's also not perfect. What did I make you laugh about?
But Brandon, it's a 10 out of 10.
Oh, is that what we're
It's
about
a
to
10
dive
out of
into?
10 we're not going to dive into it. I'm just making the joke.
Okay, yeah. In a future one, we should
tuning.
dive into that though.
It's 10 out of 10 though.
Yeah,
How can it be not as good as it used to be?
More Balisong makers should start having their own review scores of their own products.
And
actually, please don't.
And they should all be 10s.
All 10s, especially the balance score. Those who know. Those who don't, we'll talk about it in a future episode.
Yeah, maybe.
But no, Squid Industries,
maybe it'll
though,
be fixed by then.
Yeah, but they do care. They make some pretty great stuff. They try to make it affordable. Like even if there are issues with them, like they care. Lucas, the CEO, is one of the most hardworking people I've ever met in my entire life. He cares about his employees. He cares about his business. So that's a great one. Machine Wise is great. Zippy is another person that I know that we both have a lot of respect for. Zippy Balisong he makes. This is a Cycloid HD. And it's really, really cool. It has a really cool
I haven't seen yours yet.
Adjustable weight system where you can just pop
I
them
love
out,
that system so
and
much.
then if it focuses, please, dear Lord, and have it. Yeah, so you could see there's some tungsten weights in there, and you can just pop them in and out, and it's a jolly old time if you put it in correctly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or it could be backwards.
Doofus. But Zippy, he's awesome as well. He makes Balisong accessories, inserts for blades, actual Balisongs, end caps that also have weights in them, LED caps that you can put at the end of stuff. He's genuine. Like I met him at Blade Show for the first time this year in 2023, and just super down to earth guy. Also, really, really cares.
I love that
So,
Chad Zippy.
yeah, he's just a great guy. And then I
He's
guess on
Chad.
top of that, another
I mean, I'll bring it up because people are already going to think you're shilling enough, like Nabali's. I think we'd be hard pressed
okay.
to talk about the beginner market without talking about Nabali's.
Yeah,
With the Hydra, Vault, Marbles, they got a lot of good options down
even the
there.
Morse is a pretty
Yeah,
good
the
time.
Morse, the
The Morse.
Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I
but yeah,
mean,
no,
we've
they came into it like they started by making stuff that was very meh. And then it was once we talked about one of their products, or they had sent it to us. That I think it was the Morse actually. We were like, oh my god, they're really getting somewhere. And so that's
yeah,
what convinced us to, hey, if you made some changes to the Morse and made it a little more friendly, um, this could be cool. And so
this
that's
could
how
be
the
cool.
Volp came to be. But no, they also care. There's been a few controversies with them in the past, but each time there has been that they've been like, "Whoops, that was genuinely my bad. Didn't know.
Yeah,
Very sorry. Won't
a
happen
little
again."
more a little more opaque than some of the other ones, but we're talking again framed under the whole guise of, well, if you're newer, then here are the people to check out.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
might as well.
Nabalis, Machine Wise, Squid Industries, Zippy, Tay,
Tay,
Tay Flipper, Flip Forge. This is actually the Beta V1 original
why
Tay
do you
Flipper.
have that?
Oh, because I needed it for a review, and I never gave it back to Will. So this is I think it
Free
actually, yeah,
Tay Flipper, boys.
it
Let's
says
go.
on it. You probably can't see because of the lighting. Hold on. Ooh, I got this. I'm a professional. Oh, there it is.
Oh,
Beta
oh, Beta
V1.
V1.
Oh, there it is.
Wow.
Beta V1.
Now, how quickly
Oh,
can he return?
there we go.
Oh,
Perfect.
that was pretty quick. Good job.
Yeah, Tay Flipper, a Flip Forge is awesome. I know you have a history of Flip Forge as well. This is the
I
Flip
do.
Forge Edit Lite.
Love the edit series. I haven't
Yeah.
flipped them too much lately, to be honest. I like for being someone who used to be called like the plastic guy. Haven't flipped too much plastic lately. Sorry, boys. My bad. Um, but yeah. What what have you been flipping lately?
What have I been flipping lately? Well, so this may be dated the second that I say it, but Will and I are working on some products. We're working on some fancy new things. So that's mostly what I've been flipping. Are those things that have yet to be announced at this current moment, but they might be announced by now. But you won't even know because there are literally multiple products in development. But the thing I've been flipping a lot, mostly, is in preparation, or there will either is a review or there will be a review. But the Prisma
Love the
Pro.
Prisma Pro.
The Prisma Pro is awesome. It sounds great. It flips great. It has an excellent grip. I would say that I also did a review of the Prisma V1. This is the Pro. This is the V1. I think that they can exist at the same time.
I agree.
The Prisma V1, I think, has a better feel in the hand. It's a
Yes.
little bit more rounded.
Yep.
The Prisma Pro, these handles are not sharp by any means, but they're just a little bit more jagged.
Right.
The Prisma V1, I think, just feels a little bit better in the hand. Overall, but
I
this
think
has
that's
better
fair.
grip.
Which one do you
Uh,
think flips better, though, is the question.
Prisma Pro.
Based.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
based.
Prisma Pro.
I think
The
the V1
Prisma
flips a
V1 had a
tiny bit
slightly
better.
strange balance, but the Prisma Pro is a ton of fun.
Love the Pro.
Yeah. And then
cool.
unironically, I flip my Heibel knives fun chucks
The
quite a bit.
legendary 7 of 7.
Yeah. Well, especially because something I
Is
appreciate.
that numbered?
It is
Sorry to
not.
interrupt, but
It is
no, it's
not
not.
numbered.
That's
I
sad.
could number
Okay,
it
continue.
myself. But unironically, it is a thing that I will bring with me a lot whenever I'm going to make a quick trip to the store and I want to flip something. But of course, even something like, a trainer, at first glance, this looks like a blade.
Right.
And even something like this kind of looks like it could be a knife blade. A little bit. So something that I literally don't have to worry about that is honestly really great.
Don't have a
And only
blade.
7 of these exist. And I believe there are only 3 of them out in the wild that are unconfirmed of we don't know who has them.
Right.
But, or no, actually, there are 2. There are 2 of these that are unaccounted for. I have one. Lucas, the CEO of Squid Industries, has 2. One of Will and I's Patreon supporters has 1. And then a guy that I follow on Instagram has 1. So that means there are
Ooh,
2
two.
out in the wild somewhere.
It should have been me, not him.
But no, yeah, these I flip quite a bit. And the Cycloid HD, I flip quite
Hell
a bit
yeah.
as well.
Hell.
But what about you?
Hell yeah. I've been flipping the Hydra. I got
The
the Japanese
Hydra.
Tantra
Okay.
Hydra.
Okay.
It's not like incredibly like, oh, this is the best thing in my collection, but it's fun. I don't like the fact that it has a false live blade. I think it's kind of a goofy idea
Yeah. I
based
guess that
on
is kind
just
of
principle.
Nabalis's thing with the wave from
I think it's
Artsy as
goofy.
well.
I don't
Yeah.
see the point of literally choosing the worst of both the live blades and trainer at the same time.
Yeah.
But I've been flipping it and it's good. And then also, of course, Sliff T. And I would say Prisma Pro, but I returned that to Ted like a week ago. So,
Okay. Yeah.
you know how
Where
it be.
does the Hydra rank in your Nabalis Bala songs?
That's a tough one. Are we talking in a vacuum or are we talking like price to like, are we including
Your
price
personal
or
favorite. Like if you had to pick one Nabalis product, would that be in the running as of one you would pick?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's like just genuinely based on just my personal opinions. I'd say it's number 2.
Okay.
My
What's
top,
number 1?
the marbles. I just think the
The
marbles is such a
marbles.
cool
So I
battle
guess
song.
I can reveal this now. Will and I were one of the first people ever to try the marbles, if not the
Really?
first people outside of Nabalis to try it. They sent it to us.
Do you have it?
I think it's still in a box somewhere. Yeah, but this
Oh,
was a
wow.
long time ago. This is over. I would say this is over a year ago now.
Really?
They sent the marbles to us. Yeah.
Well, because it's
And
been
at the
on there.
time, does the marbles now, does it come with a little thing to keep the marbles from rattling?
There's like little rubber stoppers, I believe.
Okay. It didn't have that. And that's what we
Oh.
suggested to them. The reason those are there is because we were like, this is going to rattle no matter what.
That's
you
so
need to have
sick.
rubber little things in there to keep it from rattling.
That's so sick.
Yeah. So I actually haven't flipped the current marbles.
I think it's not even that it like flips amazing. It's just it's like the Zippy the Cycloid V2. You can customize it and it just like in metal form kind of.
Okay.
And I just think that's cool. Also, it's like $75 and I don't know how they did that.
Yeah. Which for is it on bushings?
Yes.
It's on bushings. Okay.
It's a really good deal. I mean, I still recommend the Vault to people just because you get like the beginner package. Like if you're a beginner, definitely the Vault because you get like the beginner, like the T10, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But
I guess we need to actually be better about that. We just talked about bushings. What are bushings? Really quick. Some Bala songs have just phosphor bronze washers. And the thing that these do is whenever you tighten it, if you tighten it too much, the handle will lock up. So it like won't move. The thing about a bushing Bala song, so this is just you have the blade, and then you have the blade. Let's focus here. Come on, camera, you got this. There, you have the blade, and then you have the washer there, and then you have the handle, and the blade is in between the washer. I'm sorry, the washer's between the blade and the handle, and so these work. And they like this. This is a washer Bala song, and it flips pretty great. But then with a bushing product, that's actually an additional piece of metal that is physically actually can show here. This is a Volt blade. This has an additional piece of metal that you can see in there that comes out. And that allows the balisong to be fully tightened and not lock up on you.
True.
If it's made well. So that's what that is. So that's when we say, is it on bushings? That's technically a good thing. Because it technically means you won't have to do as much maintenance to it, because you can just tighten it down and then you have a grand old time. Because with a washer balisong, because you can't tighten it all the way down, it's more likely to come unscrewed.
And we have to be the ones to explain it, because this community is so bad at giving beginners info.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that we need to do is just break down, the way that we discuss a balisong. we need to break down.
I can't break dance, so crying was the better option there.
This next thing is going to make you cry. The way that we need to describe balisongs is having a conversation such as, is the cracker-rackin' white bread or sourdough bread, Ethan?
Fuck. The Kraken is white bread.
It is not white bread.
What? Okay, so let me
describe white bread.
Say what you're saying. No.
This is what we were talking about at the beginning of the episode, by the way, that we were going to have a heated discussion about something. This is that heated discussion. Describe your stance on the Kraken.
First I want to hear sourdough bread. Who the fuck eats sourdough bread on a daily, consistent basis?
Anybody that has any taste.
What? Because I can tell you.
Have you made
right
a sandwich
now,
with sourdough bread? My girlfriend will eat an entire loaf of sourdough bread with nothing in one sitting.
Fancy bread. You know what? I gotta be completely honest with you. I'm pretty sure if I go up into my kitchen right now, there is not a single thing of sourdough bread. Not a single thing.
Then you're an uncultured swine.
No, I'm not, because white bread is like cardboard. You put things on it, and it doesn't interfere. A cardboard box stores things, right? And you put things inside the box, and it doesn't interfere with the thing that's inside the box.
This is the worst explanation I've ever heard you give
is.
for this.
I need to. It's terrible, and I'm just. Sometimes you have to commit. Okay, no, but for real, the Kraken. Describe the Kraken to me, Brandon.
I feel like. Okay. The cracker-rackin', to me, I have two. The cracker-rackin', I won't even say, because I know what you say about it. The cracker-rackin', to me,
to you, yeah,
is one of the most universal knives that you could put it in almost anybody's hands, and they would say, "Oh, holy shit, this is good."
Okay.
That's what most people would say about a Kraken. I believe that's how you feel about a Kraken, right?
Yes. Yeah. So now I offer you an opinion.
Okay.
If you make a sandwich with white bread, people can universally say that as long as the sandwich there is good, that it's a good sandwich.
No. To me, the white bread will not stand out in any way in that sandwich. It will not be notable in any way because, it's just boring ass white bread. You vastly overestimate the number of people that have tried a live blade cracker-rackin'. They do not release live blade cracker-rackins that often.
Maybe that's true. Maybe I am vastly overestimating.
So the assumption that the cracker-rackin' is this infinitely accessible thing that anybody can get a hold of, and they'll be like, "Oh, it's boring, but I like it, and I don't care." For most people, you've said that the Kraken is boring.
Okay,
you have said
yes, but we need to add context to that.
Okay, add some context. Bring it on.
Because here's the deal: when you take the Kraken, in comparison to everything else in the hobby, it is good. Yes, I will never deny that the Kraken is good, but it doesn't do anything spectacularly. It is a master of none. It is good at all, great at none. That's why it's
I
the
disagree.
benchmark.
I
That's why
disagree.
it is the universal. It's the HD
Where I would put it,
600s of the Balisong community.
where I would put it is that it is great at everything, but it's not amazing at one thing. Just saying, oh
Okay,
yeah,
that's
it's
the same
good.
thing.
It's fine. No,
That's the
those are
same
two
thing.
different things.
Okay, fine.
Those are two different things. So
If
for,
you
so to
just-
me,
just
let me
raise
link
my
that back to
argument.
sourdough. Let me just take it back to sourdough. Sourdough, those are not all created equal, by the way. White bread generally is. And when we're talking white bread, there are forms of white bread that can be better. We're talking, at least to me, correct me if I'm wrong, when you say white bread, you're talking you go to any supermarket and you buy their brand of white bread.
No.
Okay, what white bread is your
No,
basis?
because that's like shitty white bread. I'm just talking about like average white bread.
Okay, average white
It's
bread.
not
So,
like the
so, so
shitty
not
like store brand version, but it's like it's not like the high end. Like you're buying the white bread that's not the store brand, but it's also not like the high end stuff. It's just like normal white bread.
okay. Yeah, so I'll relate this to my own experience with the Kraken. When I tried a Kraken for the first time, it was, oh, this is a butterfly knife.
Yes.
This is what it's about.
I can
This
agree
is
with
what
that.
I've been missing.
Mm-hmm.
All the other things I had tried were white bread. At most. So with sourdough bread, and I specifically had this experience, my mother came back from Aldi one day.
Your favorite store?
I am a huge fan of grilled cheese sandwiches. Massive fan of grilled cheese sandwiches. Love them. I could eat them all day, every day. And I had a lot of fucking grilled cheese sandwiches in my day.
Connoisseur, you could say.
My mom comes home with this sourdough bread, this loaf of sourdough bread. And and I wanted to make a grilled cheese sandwich, but it was the only bread we had. And so I'm like, okay, I'm still going to make a grilled cheese. And it wasn't even like a perfect square. So I had to load on some extra cheese to like fill it out properly. But when I had that, the way that the crust was once it was cooked, the way the butter soaked into the bread and made it infinitely more like not hard, but just that extra bit of, oh my God, this is retaining the flavor. And then the actual flavor of the bread was, oh, this is elevating everything else around it. Not to a point of, oh my God, this is the best sandwich I've ever had. It's still cheese in bread at the end of the day, but that extra flavor, that extra care put into it, elevated it to, oh, this is what I've been missing. And that is my experience of why the Kraken is not just standard, it's decent white bread that everybody has tried. And everyone would be like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. But they're not going to get excited about eating white bread. They're not going to be like, fuck yeah, white bread.
Exactly.
I would be like, oh shit, we're having sourdough? Like there's a cheese plate with sourdough with it? Sign me up, brother. That's my argument.
See, now where I come back in is I don't want to downplay how good the Kraken is. I think the Kraken is amazing.
Okay, amazing.
But
okay.
It does not do anything particularly sparkly. It has a personality, and that personality is just being good. You can watch a Twitch streamer who's good at a game, but their personality is that of cardboard, and it's still entertaining because they're good. They're good at the game. They still have like a market, you know? That is precisely where the Kraken sits in my mind. Because the Kraken, yes, is stunning the first time that you try it. But I think a lot of people would find that as you try more Balisongs in its like vicinity, above it, below it, whatever, you will find that maybe not everyone, but most people would prefer something that has that sparkle that fits their taste rather than something that is just generally good. And so I say white bread because a lot of people think that white bread is just, it's good. It's very standard. It doesn't do anything particularly exciting, but it is like just good. Whereas
Yeah,
sourdough has that flavor. I'd call it like the Prisma Pro sourdough because it has that zing to it. The Kraken, to me at least, doesn't have that zing. It's just, it's good. It's great. It's amazing. It's whatever you want to call it. But it doesn't excel in any one specific place.
so I guess that just comes down to a difference of the way that these have resonated with you and I in separate ways. Because I constantly go back to the Kraken and I'm like, damn. And I even called this in a giant video that I made covering all the Battle songs that I own earlier in 2023. I said that if I had to pick one Battle song, it would be the Kraken.
Right.
Because I can rely on it being mostly durable. I can, and in my specific scenario, this is already relatively beat in some way. But I know that I would be able to have this, and I wouldn't just be, oh, whatever. Like, okay, I guess I'll take it. If this is what I have to survive with, I guess that's fine. I would be excited to have
I would
this
too.
as the thing that I'm with.
It's
and
great.
I would feel that way if I had to eat white bread for the rest of my life for everything. I do agree that it's like, it wouldn't be the end of the world for me. It wouldn't be the best for my health. That's for damn sure. But
Well,
for my
you're talking
soul,
only white
it
bread.
would meet that. But so, let me ask you this. Would you have standard white bread on a cheese plate?
What's a cheese? What do you mean cheese plate?
Like a cheese platter. You got some slices of cheese and you got some bread.
No.
Would you eat white bread with that?
No, because cheese is also.
Well, you would eat
very,
sourdough.
like,
You would eat sourdough.
I don't know how sourdough tastes. I'm gonna be completely real with you. I just like.
So okay, maybe that's where we differ. Then you don't have an appreciation for sourdough.
I don't.
Maybe that's
but
where we
also I don't have the same appreciation for the Kraken.
Okay,
Again,
maybe
I don't
that's
wanna,
it.
I don't.
So
wanna,
your Bowie Damascus Kraken, that is white bread
is
to you.
beautiful.
It's
and
white
I love
bread,
it,
though.
and it's great. But flipping it, if we take the flipping performance and we extract it in a vacuum, I would pick the Sliff Tea every time.
Why?
Because the Sliff Tea just has like it has that zing, that flavor to my tastes. Whereas the Kraken doesn't have that. It's just like, it's a very baseline, very good standard. If you were to plot it on a chart, it'd be a flat line. Whereas the Sliff Tea would have a spike at 3, but I really like the number 3, you know? So I'd rather have the spike at number 3 than the flat line. You know?
Yeah, it still, even amidst that, maybe we just both have to be a little bit, we have to expand our horizons a little bit.
No, I think you're completely wrong.
I'm completely wrong. You're not even going to see that we're both sort of right, but we have different perspectives.
We have to be.
You're going to say I'm completely wrong.
We have to be fundamentally and ideologically opposed on this issue at every point.
So that's where the audience comes into play.
Yes.
We are, I guess what we had roughly discussed before this recording was that we want to ask not only you as the viewer, where do you stand? If you've tried a Kraken, where do you stand? But also, maybe we're going to ask, and we haven't even brought up this as a potential, maybe some future guests of the podcast, this question. So now you know how we feel based on that. Ultimately, I guess, sum up your argument, Ethan. What is your argument for the Kraken as white bread?
The Kraken is amazing. It's great. A lot of people are going to love it the first time they tried it, just like I did. But as they continue into their balisong hobby, I think a lot of people might prefer something that has that bit of flavor, maybe that little bit of blade bias that fits their taste rather than the lack of that in exchange for everything being relatively really good across the board. I would much rather have something with personality than something that's just good.
Okay.
And when I say just good, I mean like great, amazing, whatever you want to fit in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will add a little context to my argument before I dive into it. I don't have the specific model that I'm talking about or that I'm about to mention. But so imagine that this is this version, because this technically isn't. For me, something that I would describe as white bread of ballast songs is a squid trainer.
Whoa.
A squid trainer is good.
Wow.
And it's also where a lot of people started with. Or at least back in the day when the squid trainer was the more popular thing. The squid trainer, to me, is white bread. Because it is a neutral balance. I would say let's discount the ring. We're just talking purely in terms of the flipping. Purely in terms of the flipping. It'll do most things that you ask of it. And the reason I say this doesn't have jimping, which is a problem. But V4,
it does now, so.
The V4 version, that's the one I don't have in front of me. The V4 version does have jimping, and it's pretty good jimping. But so if you discount the ring, this works pretty well. And it flips good enough. You could do most tricks on it. It has a solid weight to it. That to me, but there's not really anything super special going on here. The texture is neat. So it's like, if I had to flip this, great, sure, I'd be happy. But the Kraken, you get that additional texture there that's just more satisfying. You get the change in finish. You get the higher material quality of it. And of course, this is a live blade. So it's not 100% fair comparison there. But you just get that extra bit of craftsmanship. Get that little extra bit, which propels it into being sourdough bread. Okay, because so with sourdough, it's that little step above. It's that, I'm being treated to an experience. Because it's not just a strainer. Oh, sure. Yeah, squid trainer. Yeah, it's a squid trainer. It's good. It's like, but the Kraken, though, damn. Now I'm going on a trip. I'm going to be left with some flavors in my mouth after flipping this. That's how I feel. And if we want to thicken the thing, because I guess this whole argument is just a sponsorship spot for Squid Industries. Let me know how you feel about this. It really is,
yeah.
I want to know how you feel about this. And I'm going to hold this up, but I want you to speak to your thing that's precious to you. What is the Glider Antarctic to you? / in your place, the Arctic to you?
Shitty. Well, that's two different things. The Arctic is like Waffle House.
The Arctic is Waffle House. Okay.
Because I know
Waffle House serves their shit on white bread.
I know that's not everyone's going to like the toast. Arctic. Oh.
The toast at Waffle House is white bread. That is standard white bread. Are you saying?
Okay, in this example that you are presenting me, the Antarctic is just like a shittier version of the Kraken. So it's like a shittier white bread.
It's a shittier
white bread. I don't think the Antarctic's bad. Okay. I like the Antarctic.
I was going to say that is kind of. I wouldn't use the term shitty with the Antarctic.
Comparatively,
for those that
compared to the white bread that the Kraken is, the Antarctic is, in comparison, a less quality white bread.
Okay.
But I think it's basically the same, because like the Antarctic does everything the Kraken does. There's nothing terribly special about its balance. It does everything you could want it to do, and it does it well. It doesn't excel at anything. It doesn't not excel at anything.
I think, truthfully, what this kind of boils down to is, if you were to break it down into a score, I'm saying that the Kraken is like a 9.5 out of 10, and you're saying it's a 9 out of 10.
I think so.
Probably.
I think at the end of the day, you have made some really great points that make me reflect on my argument a little bit.
Okay.
But
you've made some good points too. Credit where credit's due.
I'm committing to the bit, and we, as I said, must be ideologically opposed on this issue for future possibilities.
I think we're still at odds.
Entertainment value.
I think we're still at odds. I think we see each other's argument. We see what we're saying, but we just disagree at the end of the day. I see
it, and because I see it, I go over, I pick it up, and I put it in the trash.
See, I'm more respectful. I'm gonna set it. I'm gonna put your argument up on the fridge, just to make you feel good. And I'm gonna look at
fridge
it.
in the garage.
Yeah, the outside fridge in the garage. Yeah, I'm
Okay,
going to put it up.
perfect.
I'm not going to throw your argument away. I'm going to respect it because you've put a lot of thought into that. So I
But
guess because I did say I would give a wrap up of my argument. No, okay, go ahead. What were you going to say?
here's the thing though. My trash can is right next to me, meaning it will always be next to me and near me in some way.
You're not going to
Because
crumple up the argument?
no,
You're
I'm
just
just
going to
gonna put
leave
it
it
in the trash.
exposed in the trash can?
You
What happens when you take
put
out the
my
trash?
argument.
Mine is going to live on the fridge for the next 10 years.
My
It's
trash
going to be in
gets
the
filled up.
garage.
My trash gets full so infrequently that I haven't changed it in like 2 months. So because it's just like
that might be a
wrappers.
problem there, Ethan.
No,
Are you
it's not
throwing away
gross.
food in
It's-
there?
No, it's just like wrappers and like actually it's mostly full of Balisong Mel garbage.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
So, it's gonna be next to me at my desk. And you just relegated my argument to the shitty fridge in the garage that no one ever
But
sees.
I'm going to put it up every time I go to grab a beer from that fridge. I'm going to be like, oh, hey, wow, look at that.
But you should disrespect it.
Is that not disrespectful? I'm only
No,
going to
it
look at it
is.
when I'm going to get drunk, I guess.
It is. Actually,
is that
no, that's
weird
fair.
plot thread that I just developed?
That's a good plot thread. I like that plot thread.
So to sum up my argument, the cracker-acken, where did I just put? Oh, I put it back up there. The cracker-acken, we both concede that it's good and
Yeah.
that most people would like it. In my opinion, it is good enough to the point that it could resonate with somebody that is, oh, this is good. Wow.
Well, yeah, we live in a world where Banks exists. So yeah.
Banks of Rome.
Yeah.
You know what Banks of Rome
dude
would say?
worships the Kraken.
Sorry to call you out, Banks. Banks would just say, "Stop talking. I don't like this conversation. Move on. Move on. I don't like this. We need to stop talking about this."
He would do
stop
that,
talking
I
about.
think.
That's what he would do.
I think that
Love
would.
you,
I
Banks.
think he would. Love
you
you,
do
Banks.
that in Ethan's stream a lot, though.
He also does worship the Kraken. So like, I don't
Yeah.
deny that there's people out there. I'm just saying that there's no one out there. If a nice sandwich was presented to them, wouldn't like, they'd be mad it was on white bread.
Okay, that's fair.
You know,
That's fair. Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad if you
So you're
gave me
saying-
a nice sandwich. I wouldn't be mad.
But can you say that having proper exposure to sourdough?
Maybe not.
Because
Well, you
to
gotta commit
me,
to the
if
bit,
I
you
had
know?
to eat a sandwich, I'd be like, dude, throw that on some sourdough bread. Bring it on, baby.
But what if you had to have white bread?
So the
you would
serif,
accept it.
I guess to expand this, the serif is specialty bread. Like
Oh,
this
yes.
is something that was handmade in a bakery with
French
some
baguette.
super specific, yeah, like something super specific. You can only get it from this specific spot.
Yeah.
Holy shit, this is next level. Sourdough bread is still accessible. You can still get some damn good sourdough bread from most grocery stores. I can't say that you're going to get some damn good, I'm going to remember this for a long time, white bread from the store.
Yeah.
That's my argument.
That's fair.
We both agree it's good, but we both agree to hate each other, I guess, as well.
Yes. Yeah. Because
Yes.
this needs to be an issue that continues to pop up and causes strain on our relationship.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to struggle
Yes.
emotionally to talk to
Yes.
you because of this unresolved resentment
And
over this
I mean,
extremely important argument.
I'm arguing for like objectively within the community, but like within my own collection, my Kraken is absolutely white bread. Yes. Because I pick it up
Okay.
and it's beautiful and I love it and it's great. And I think, oh yeah, this is pretty good every time I flip it, but it just doesn't do anything crazy for me.
Yeah, I guess that is where we will officially have to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Because the Kraken
Until next
isn't my
time.
like absolute favorite flipper in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if I had to pick one, I would be completely content to flip this
I'd pick a Tonto Kraken.
for the rest of my days. A Tonto, yeah, this is Tonto.
Yeah.
And
I have a
Bowie,
Bowie, which
Bowie.
could be part of the reason.
maybe that's why. I
I'd pick a
prefer the
Tonto.
Tonto substantially more.
Because you're talking about a situation where you can only flip one thing, and in that situation, of course, I would want something that's great at everything.
So I technically am saying that, but my argument still stands as when you try a Kraken, it's oh my,
Yeah.
okay, wow,
Okay.
That's ultimately my thing. Because of that, and because, as you said, it's good at pretty much everything, I would say it's great at everything, which is where our argument differs. But it's ultimately because it's a unique experience at the end of the day that you
A
couldn't get from
unique
anywhere.
experience. Okay.
I think you're selling it short, and I think you're overestimating the amount of people that have a Kraken and have tried it and enjoy it.
And I think that you're stupid. I can't even joke.
So we leave it to the audience and potential future guest stars of this podcast.
Someone else is going to have to figure this one out because I'm just so mad that I can't resolve this in a mature way.
Well, and I think so. How do we propose this? Do we just say, what is the cracker-akin to you? Sourdough bread, or white bread?
Oh, we just present the question.
We just present the question. Like we can't explain it though, right? Like we can't explain.
No, we can't talk about this in a video. One of our future guests might watch this. They got to be.
That's true.
They
Okay,
can't be
you're
ready
right.
for it.
You're right. Okay. No, yeah. So that'll be up in the air. Maybe we won't do that. Maybe we
who
won't.
knows? Who knows?
Yeah. But on that note, I think after that heated debate, I think it might be time to wrap up this show.
Yeah, I think
Ethan,
that might be it.
Where can the people find you?
On this channel.
On this channel.
It's the... Yep. I should have asked that to you specifically. Because I'm home, you're on vacation here, you know? Where can the people find you?
That's true. Yeah, so the Will Hirsch YouTube channel, that's where most of the things that I make in the Battle Song realm go up to. I have an Instagram at the Brandon Baker. I have my own YouTube channel where I've done a few streams. Brandon's Battle Song Corner. And before we officially wrap things up, what we want to do in the future is answer questions from the lovely audience.
Yes.
So if you would like to leave a comment, we'll go through the comments and we'll pick whatever ones stand out to us, and we'll talk about them in the next podcast.
So instead of arguing for an extra 10 minutes about white bread and sourdough bread, we would go to the comments and...
Yeah, well, and that's where it feeds the fuel of our argument. Maybe somebody will leave a comment that really opens our eyes.
Maybe.
Wow, okay. And maybe we both get absolutely pummeled because we were totally wrong, and we're in an extreme minority of people.
That's the best timeline.
That thing. Yeah.
That's the best timeline.
Yeah.
Where we're both arguing over something so inconsequential as that it does not matter to literally anyone else because no one shares our opinions.
Yeah, it's going to be beautiful.
Oh, it's going to be so
thank
good.
you to everybody for watching this podcast. Seriously, continue to watch Ethan on Blade Bias.
And go watch him on
some
his
of the most
channels.
Yeah. My stuff is it takes much longer to create.
The most high quality stuff in the Battle Song community, though. Can't really argue with that.
I would, being as objective as I can, I think that is actually true, that Will and I create the highest quality.
The winner of the Content Creator of the Year award at the 2020
The Valley Awards. Yes. It's true.
The people spoke.
Yeah.
The people spoke.
But no, in terms of actual opinions though and breakdowns of Battle Song stuff, you really can't get better than Ethan on Blade Bias. And you're never going to find a hotter debate than the Blade Bias podcast.
I'm the white bread of YouTube.
I'm the sourdough bread of YouTube.
And Den BMX is the crazy...
He's like
Italian
a hot dog
herbs
bun.
And spices.
Yeah. Maybe we should have just used Subway bread.
Subway bread.
Have been it. Yeah.
So I'm arguing for Italian.
Okay. What am I within Subway bread?
I have no idea. I only ever get Italian or Italian herbs and whatever the fuck it's called.
And apparently that's bullshit because it's barely that. Like it's pretty much just the regular bread. But
I used to know someone who worked at Subway. Thank you very much. So I
knew a ton of people that worked at Subway.
Well, shit.
The small town I lived in had 2 restaurants. The restaurant I worked at, which was a sit down, and a gas station that had a Subway.
Well, shit. I guess I lose this one. You know more people inside the machine. Here's an opinion that no one can disagree with, though. Subway sucks. It doesn't suck. It's not great, though.
I would eat Subway
If I had to.
if I needed a filling meal. I would eat Subway.
Subway is the white bread of
Subway is the
fast
white
food
bread
industry.
of the fast food industry.
I would rather go to a local sub shop, but you know what? That's a thing for another day.
Yeah. You want to sign us off, Ethan?
Should we? Do we do everything? Do we do all the outro stuff? I don't know.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah.
I think
What's
we're
your
good.
final word?
What's my final word? Baba
Baba Booey?
Baba
Is that a
Booey.
Parks and Rec reference?
No,
Oh, it's not. Okay.
it's not. I
Okay.
don't. I just got that. 'Cause
That's funny
a
you said that, 'cause that
podcast
happens in
I've been
Parks and
watching.
Rec.
That's how they outro.
That has to be a Parks and Rec reference. Because there's a scene where one of the characters gets really, really, really drunk, and it cuts to him, and he just goes, Baba Booey.
Oh.
And that's it. Yeah.
I think of the extremely bass boosted Baba Booey audio clip that has made its way around the internet a lot.
It might be that. I don't know.
It might be that. I don't know.
Well, I think the only way to sign this off is for us to both stare daggers into our camera and say Baba Boy at the same time.
We're just stealing someone else's bit at this point,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's how I work, I guess.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, and then we'll say it. 3, 2, 1.
Baba
Baba
Booey.
Boy. Thanks for watching. See you
Bye.
next time.
Maybe.